All right, folks, we are live on the live stream. Welcome, everyone, to the Urban Prepper Show. And this is going to be a cool one. This is going to be one of the most controversial topics that we've ever done in the history of my YouTube channel. And no, we're not talking about guns and political topics or anything like that. We're going to be talking about canned meat. As you see here, this is 18-year-old tuna fish that's been canned by my sister-in-law. This is a topic that I'm very unfamiliar with. We've done a lot of over the past year, we've been doing some canning. My wife has been doing a lot of the canning. She's been making a lot of jams over the past year with her rose garden. She takes rose petals, makes jam out of it. And then most recently, we did some various vegetables. We did prepper pickles, and we've done some dill beans and other things like that. But we've been a little bit scared to start off with the meat canning. And so I recently started a Discord server. There's a link in the description box. And we've been talking with a lot of people that visit this channel. And one of the people that came over to the Discord server was Denise. And Denise is super into canning. And we've had a lot of different discussions. And Denise says, hey, let's talk about canned meats. And so that's what we're going to do. It was so much fun talking on the Discord server. We had to bring it over here on the primary channel and just get right down to it. So we're going to be talking about a lot of controversial things. We'll talk about botulism. We'll talk about various types of meats to do, all the equipment that you're going to need, and go from there. So without further ado, welcome to the live stream, Denise. And here we go.
Hi.
How was that intro?
That was, you make canning look very attractive.
Yeah, we're making canning cool. So, and you've been making canning cool for a while now, right?
Hey, yeah, trying to.
Yeah, so let's try to mainstream canning right now in the next hour. So this should be cool.
Yes.
I see everyone in the chat room. Greetings, everyone. Greetings, Freddie. Greetings, Wendy and Susan and all sorts of people. I think this is one of the streams that my wife is going to be watching in real time. I have a lot of other family members watching, so we're going to learn a lot on this one. So
hi, Mrs. Prepper.
Yeah.
Is your mom on?
My mom will be on, and she is a moderator. So if my mom bans you, that's how it happens.
Oh, so. No, I want to hear some story. I bet she has some stories.
Yeah, we're trying to get her on the stream. She's been a little bit. She's making demands and wants a lot of money for it. So we'll get her on eventually. Well, I thought to start off, why don't we go with like more of an introduction? You don't have a YouTube channel yourself, but you're super into prepping and you're super into canning and especially the pressurized meat canning. So maybe we could kind of talk a little bit about your background and then go from there. Okay.
I grew up in a suburban area until I was in 7th grade, and then we moved to a farm. My dad called it a toy farm. It was just 6 acres, and we had chickens and rabbits, and he had a huge garden, and we were really into living off the land was his, that we were trying to do. So, and I loved the food preservation part of it. Both of my parents were farmers, and so they just knew. So we did some canning, but most everything was frozen. And then we did some dehydrating, but we were just, so I grew up just kind of really being into it. And then I've always had a big pantry, but we've never, I just didn't get into prepping until about 12, 15 years ago, I think now. And I had it before that. We'd had a freezer. 2 times the freezer broke down on us, and I was, the second time, all the food went bad. I didn't catch it in time. I didn't know it was broken until like after a couple days, and it was, all the food was spoiled. So in a rage, I don't know, I just remember seeing red and I remember yelling, as God is my witness, I will never, use a freezer again. Let me see. But the other thing was with the freezer, I was kind of thinking it wasn't a good idea for us because we didn't have a good space for it. The reason they broke down is because we had it in the garage and it gets really hot there. And so we had the idea of having a freezer that takes electricity every month. So you have to pay every month for it. So I'm not against freezers. I know the freezers now, especially the chest freezers, are really efficient. But that's just something when we started prepping, I didn't want to do. So I started looking into meat canning, and I was afraid, like everybody else, of botulism, of the pressure canner exploding, all of those fears. So, but thankfully we have a master food preserver extension office from the USDA that I had classes that I could attend. So I attended those, I read everything, because I was just determined to, like a kid, I was thinking it was like a kid who wants to drive, but then people tell them all the dangers of driving, which is good. It's good to know dangers of stuff, but you're still determined to drive.
Yeah.
So I was determined to have real meat. So I worked through those fears. And then once we got started, we just realized when I figured out how to cook it, not the canning wasn't as hard as the figuring out the learning curve of learning to cook with it. So we started just really enjoying it, and just the idea of how much money we were saving and time and everything. I know we're gonna go through all that.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's where I got started.
So it started from a bad thing happened where the freezer went out, and I think that's probably common for a lot of preppers on why they would want to get into canned meats, because from what I know, a lot of preppers have various meats stored in their freezers. This isn't an anti-freezer live stream.
Right? No. I totally.
And power outages happen for all of us, and you could run it on the generator for a while, but you may run out of gas of it. And at that point, what do you do? So I think that's like the main. That's one of the talking points I think we're going to get to is why canned meat? Why should we can meat? And I think that's one of them for power loss, for not having to. If you don't have room to have a freezer, like if you're living in an apartment or whatever, for a backup freezer, it seems like another one. What are some? And you've done from what we've talked, you've done a really good job as far as integrating it into your normal cooking, which is the way to do it. It seems like. Why should we can meat though? What's the? Well,
the one thing, if you have a freezer, and again, I can't stress enough. I completely understand why people would have a freezer. That's a good thing. But if your freezer stops working, or if we have a power outage, that's my biggest concern about prepping, is having a power outage. So if you have a power outage, you can take that meat and can it if you think that it's going to be long term. I mean, so that's another option. You have the generator going but what if it's a couple weeks or something? Then you can, and it's starting to thaw out. Then you can can it.
So if there's a power outage, then and if you don't have the generator, it'd be nice to have a set of canning supplies. Hey, really quick, we're going to have to can this meat before it goes bad, and so kind of as a backup measure for power outages for your freezer. Then.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and we have a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about on this stream. I know that you provided some links over here. There's a lot of great resources. One of them links in the description box of this video. We have this is the USDA Complete Guide for Home Canning, the 2015 version. There's a lot of great videos on YouTube. We're going to be talking about some of those. Our good friend Potpourri has a good one as far as the facts, not fear, with regard to botulism, which we're going to be talking about later. And then another well-known prepper, Alaskan Prepper, has a lot of canning, especially meat canning information as well. So if this is a new topic for you, there's a lot of great information available on YouTube. We're going to just kind of dive into it and find out kind of lessons learned from Denise in this one, and go from there. But make sure you check out both Prepper Potpourri and Alaskan Prepper. They have some really good stuff on meat canning, in addition to other prepper channels as well. So let's see. And I know there's I see comments already coming in the comment section too. So
let me go through. I can go through the other reasons why to can meat. That's just one. I've got a million.
There's many. There's 100 reasons to can meat.
Well, I think people just might not think about it's. It uses less fuel, so when you go to cook it, you just happen to heat it up. It's already thawed out and it's ready. It's already cooked, so you could eat it straight out of the jar. My husband, when he's really busy, he just opens up a jar and goes to town, and and then it also saves time in meal prep. You've already prepped. You can have really quality meat, whatever is important to you with the quality of the meat. You can have that. You can have a variety. I mean, sky's the limit. You can have, most foods come in big quantities, like a moose, or somebody butchers a cow or a pig or something. And even vegetable harvests come in all at once. typically, not always, but so to preserve food is, I think, such an important skill. So yeah, you can have anything, yak meat. If you catch fish, you could can up. If you catch a big old halibut, whatever, all of that you can do. And then it saves money because you're using the same jar, like glass jar over and over. And if you get these Tattler lids,
Yep.
I don't know if you kind of see those.
Link in the
Those are
description.
reusable.
Yes, I have a link to the Tattler lids in the description box too. Those are, because lids are, and we could talk about that too, as far as there seems to be some canning shortages going on as far as jars and lids and all of that.
Yeah,
and
it's crazy.
My wife, she's been doing a lot of canning for jams, but she's like, do not throw that glass away. Do not throw those lids away. And they're super valuable. They're next to N95 masks. They're probably some of the hardest things to get now.
Yeah, so you can just can stuff and it saves money because you're using the same jars over and over and over. I've used these jars. In fact, when I started, I got a bunch of jars from a yard sale. I got my canner from the yard sale and I got a bunch of jars and they've been going. I mean, I've had a few breakages that I'm sure were due to actually microwave. I'm pretty sure I asked the food preservers and I had more problems with jars breaking than most people do. And I think it was actually canning jars. The glass jars are actually not microwavable. And I was using quart jars to make yogurt and I'd have them in there for a long time. So I'm sure putting jars in the microwave for just a minute, just a little bit of time to heat things up is okay. But you don't want to do that. So these jars I've had, in fact, I was just looking at some, I'm like, oh, those are from, I didn't buy jars that were that shape. So these are from the original batch. So it saves money. And then the last thing is just my controversial. You talked about me being controversial. Here we go. Is everybody ready? Everybody ready? Put your hands on the keyboard because you're going to get mad at me. I am going to attempt to convince you that home canned foods are safer than commercially canned foods.
Don't.
So
don't
there we go.
Brown button. Yeah, let's get
don't hear me out.
I definitely like the idea that when you go to Costco or something, because historically, like when I go to Costco and get tuna fish or we get corned beef or whatever it is, I don't know I don't really know what's in that meat. When it seems like if you were to do it yourself, that you know exactly what it is because you got it over at the butcher's.
Yes.
I guess another disclaimer on this video. This probably isn't the most vegan friendly live stream that we've done because we're talking canned meats, but
I do have pinto beans.
Pinto beans. Okay, there we go.
Pinto beans. So now
and pickles are vegan. So
yeah, I've been doing all kinds of beans. Now beans, for food storage, they're fine dry. It's better to store them dry, but I can them for a couple of reasons. One is to have them just ready to go. Like then I make a thing called cowboy beans where I saute a little bit of bacon and then I put the pinto beans and salt and pepper, maybe some cheese and serve that with cornbread. That is a really great meal and it's quick. So that's why. The other thing is if you're canning and you discover you have room in your, like I hate to can without the canner being clear full. So you can throw in a pint jar, it's a half a cup. Oh, this is hamburger. In a pint jar, it's half a cup it's 1/4 of the volume. So if you put dry beans in, you rinse them off and put them in there with boiling water, a little salt if you want. I use a half a teaspoon per pint. So then a quart jar, if you're doing quarts, you do a cup of beans and you fill it with boiling water. And then you pressure can it with your meat, so you have a full canner. So it's kind of a nice, quick way to do the whole thing.
And one of the things that we talked about is that when you're canning meat, you like doing it by the pound, and that basically a pint jar. There's different size jars. You want to go with the pint one because that basically equates to a pound of meat. Is that what?
That's when you're raw canning. It's nice to know that, and I'm into big batch, so I like to know that when I can, it's a 1 pound per batch. So I can buy appropriately.
Yeah, I
And
mean, well,
then
like when we make spaghetti and stuff, we get a pound of ground beef for that, or 2 pounds. So it seems like a great way of doing it then.
yeah, and if you have a big family, then you could do them in quarts.
Yeah.
If you want 2 pounds of meat. But other meats, not every, if anything's very fatty, sausages are a little less. So what I've done is, what I think is really important is I have a journal. I took an old journal when I first started this and started just writing down every time I did a recipe, canned something, I wrote down what I did. And then in the front of the journal, I started writing down, oh, a pound of chicken goes into a pint jar. And then I started doing these little breakfast sausages. I don't know if you can, yeah. So those are 12 per jar. So then I wrote, so I go to Costco too a lot. So I wrote down, I know exactly how many packages of breakfast sausages I need to buy to do 2 canners full of breakfast sausages. So it's really, that's the most important thing I think I've ever done, was write down things that I've done. So then you can just look back and go, oh, okay, I like this. Or I'd write notes, oh, this was horrible. The Ball canning book beef bourguignon did not, and I'm not picky, and it was like it didn't work for us anyway.
It seems like one of the things with canning meat. One, people are scared of the botulism part of it. Two, canned meat kind of looks a little intimidating too when you take a look at it.
It does. It looks disgusting, especially the raw. I mean, it looks like I've got some kind of critter. I mean, well, I do, I guess.
Yeah, looks like some Hannibal Lecter level stuff there.
Yeah, it's the raw, especially the raw. Can
you talk a little bit about hot pack versus raw pack then?
Okay, yeah. So this hamburger has to be done hamburger has to be done hot pack, because you have to cook this first so that the liquid can get to the pieces of hamburger. If you imagine you put raw hamburger in a jar, packed it in a jar, it would be really dense. Well, the heat, is killing the botulism and other bacteria. The heat can't get, or they're concerned that the heat won't get to the center, so they don't recommend that. So hot pack is where you brown the meat or brown the chicken or any of whatever the meat, you partially cook it and maybe brown it, and then you put it in the hot jars with hot water or broth, and then you can them, and then it looks nicer. Some people say the quality is better. What else? Yeah, see how there's nothing stuck to the jar on there. It's all just pretty in there. I don't know. I think it's pretty. It's all in the, but the pork, it sticks. It cooks on the jar. So
it kind of pretty. Yeah, it kind of builds up a little bit on the top as far as like the fatty stuff. So you want to have not a lot of fat in it, because I heard that's the part. If something were to go a little rancid, it would be that part of it. Is that true?
Well, okay. This other controversial. That's what the USDA says.
Okay. We told you this was going to be a controversial live stream.
Yes.
And we'll get to some of the questions. I see questions coming all over the place.
Okay. That's good. That's good. People are interested in this. So yeah, they say that. And I thought that was odd, because when you look at all the good cookbooks, like Ball Canning has, they're very like the gold standard of safety. And they say you can put a chicken with the skin on and other fatty, things with fat. But then they talk about how you don't want to have fat. And that's you have to understand, it's not because of a safety issue. It's because they are concerned that the fat will ruin the seal. So the thing is, see, here's I've got bacon. So the bacon, look at how much, that's a lot of fat. And it's okay to have all this air space. I know your tuna has that too. That's fine. There's not air, it's just space. And it's safe. It's safe to have it like that. So you don't store with the ring on. So you've got the lid, and then you have the ring. So once you can, I make sure and take the rings off. I wash the jars and take the rings off, because you don't want a false seal, or I don't want a false seal, trying not to tell you what to do. You do what you want to do. I'm just telling you what I do.
I was told that like the rings around it kind of hold it in place, so if it does go bad or if it pops, you wouldn't really necessarily know about it, and that's
exactly.
So as long as you take it off afterwards, then it makes it so it's a lot more visible to see if the seal.
Yes. So even from the USDA, which they're the gold standard of safety, even the USDA says canned bake it's not a safety. It is a safety in that the top will come off. Well, I've done hundreds of jars of bacon over the last 10 years, and I've never had one. I've had 2 jars in this whole time. Both of them were chicken, so I kind of suspect that chicken fat is different on a molecular level, that it might have a problem, or maybe it was just a chip. Could have been anything, but I've only had 2 jars, and this is still solid. So,
cool.
And just everybody, close your eyes and dream with me. Imagine a world where you never run out of bacon ever. I mean, can you imagine? Imagine that. Yeah. That's why you need to can.
I want to make sure I don't get too backlogged in some of the comments. How about we do some rapid fire chat room comments here?
Bring it. Bring it.
Gareka. Prepping aside, as a single guy who doesn't plan ahead on meals, canning meat seems to be so incredibly helpful for time saving, not having to defrost. That sounds.
Yeah, and if I know there's athletic people or just people in general that just eat for nutrition.
Yeah.
And my husband, especially the hamburger, he likes certain aren't good bacon. You don't want to do that, but hamburger, and there's other things I make. There's a hamburger sauce mix. Yeah. It's like a tomato sauce and onions and things in it. And there's I
love all the show and tell on this.
The show and tell. This is the most show and tell. So this is beef stew is in there. So you just, that's a good size serving. So you just, if you're a single guy, stew is fun.
Well, Christmas is just around the corner. Any single guys that we could be giving them some. There's another question here from Rachel Rochelle. Wouldn't you have to thaw the meat entirely first? I think that's in relation to like the freezer going bad. So you would have to thaw it first before canning it then. Is that?
Yes, you'd chop it up and thaw it. Yes.
And here's another one. This is do you can cheese? This is a meat canning live stream. That's the cheese one's coming up next. But
yeah, dairy. I love dairy in all forms. But I've never done cheese. It's not recommended. It's can be dense. So the heat can't. I would think it would be a safety issue. So I'm not interested in doing that.
Yeah, and then it looks like Nick says only cooked meats, correct? No, you could do raw pack and
let me do raw pack. Yeah, raw pack. Raw pack is where it's at, man.
You prefer the raw pack than hot pack then? Yeah,
just because it's easier. Because if you can imagine, I do 40 jars almost 40 jars at a time with my 2 canners, and I don't want to take the time to. It's already work. I don't want to take time. So let me just really quick. I thought this would be a funny demonstration. You don't have to sterilize the jars for raw pack. You take the jar. Pretend this is meat. Stuff the meat. Chop it up however small, big you want. Wipe the rim. Put that on. You put it in your canner. Yep. Done. And then you do it for the pressurized, for the recommended time. And that makes it easier, especially when you're doing big batches. And if you're getting roast beef, you can buy, we love brisket now, but it takes a long time to chop it. So I chop it one day, and then when it's time to can, I just have to stuff it in the jars and away I go. Yeah. So.
Cool. A lot more coming up here on chat. Pressured canned meat is 90% of our home canned goods. It's economical with a huge time saver when it comes to dinner time. That's awesome.
Oh, good. Yes.
How long does ghee last? I'm trying to figure out a way of storing butter long term. Do you do any kind of butter then?
I have done butter. I was thinking of giving it a try again, just from all the safety stuff. It's not recommended by the USDA. Does not recommend for the same reason with the bacon. They think that the fat is going to ruin the seal. But when I did can it, it had a grainy texture to it. Yeah. And I think ghee would be a better thing to can if it was legal, but it's not legal. So
Got it. And it looks like we got a shout out here from Peggy and Dawn, who we had over the last.
Oh, Peggy and Dawn. Hey,
welcome, Peggy and Dawn,
good.
to the live stream. Let's see. Let's see. There's some other ones coming. Everyone seems to be down on the canning so far. So I think
okay, I'm going to kill everybody.
Yeah, that was the one thing, and we'll talk about the botulism because that was one I was telling my mom. I think I was like, hey, we have Denise coming. We're going to be talking about canning meat, and she's like, oh, I heard of a family that they made canned meat and they killed the whole family. I was kind of thinking, and let's see, that was another question by Annette. Which method do you prefer? Cooked or raw pack, and you prefer the raw pack then?
Well, unless it's hamburger, then I cook it. And I have to do it in 2.5 pound batches, so you can imagine that took a long time. But
can we? And it looks like Peggy and Dawn is. I'm here to see how I could can a raw steak. Do you can raw steaks?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Peggy and Dawn, the VIP chat room.
Yeah, I can show you that.
Do you have canned
beef brisket? Beef brisket.
Yeah, we normally do like an EDC check, and you have a cans all over for different.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Are you ready to go?
For you.
You do beef brisket, okay?
I do beef. Yeah, beef brisket tastes. Oh, we went camping, and we just heated that up and had that. Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah, it's not going to taste like a steak, and that's the thing is it's a little bit of a learning curve to find things that are either good out of the jar or that you put a sauce on or a way to cook it so it tastes good.
Yeah, so it looks like, and this is from Annette, so only hamburger. So that's the one that you do that's cooked. Other than that, you're doing raw pack then?
Yes, even the bacon, like I buy bits and pieces or when it's on sale or from a restaurant supply store, so I get it cheap. And then, and I just chop it up and then I put it in there. But hamburger is the only one that I cook first. Yeah.
And I see another one from Peggy and Dawn. Have you ever bought a bad pressure canner? Maybe one that's too cheap. Maybe we could move on to that kind of ties into the equipment. What people need for equipment. So, and I don't have as much gear as you have there, but I have links in the description box below for all the things that we need. But maybe we could do a quick rundown of the people that are new to meat canning or canning in general. What are the things that they want to have maybe Santa Claus will come this year and get them something nice.
Yeah, a pressure canner and a pressure canner. There you go. There's one. Yeah, I have one just like that. It's a Presto 25 quart, I think. Yeah. The thing I think that's a perfect size because if you're buying a canner, you want to look at how many jars you can do at one time. So if you are really wanting to do good quality, like you want to do smaller batches but you have a specific thing you want, you don't want a big one, then you can, then a smaller one is good. But the one Cliff has here is really good because you can do 2 layers, so you can do 20 pint jars at once. Yeah. Or 7 quarts.
And so when you said you do 40 at a time, that's because you have 2 layers with 2 of these size ones, and then you do 40 cans at once of all pint size then for your meats.
Yes.
So yeah. So you get 2 of these, and these aren't the Prestos are they're the more budget friendly ones, but they seem pretty solid too. So if you got 2 of these for about a little over $200, you could do 40. Pints in, and then the more expensive one is to go with the All-American canner, which is really awesome and like a 5-star.
Oh, canner. So beautiful. But my first one, this All-American, let me get it here. It is, I'm sure, older than I am. So see the lid. Look at that.
Let me get a close up here. There we go.
Oop. So it doesn't even have the proper weight. That's okay though, because we like to use so a canner is a pressure cooker. There we go. That has to have it doesn't have to, either has to have a dial or a weight that keeps the pressure at the appropriate amount. Oop, there we go. So you need a rack at the bottom. You don't want to put your jars on the bottom. And if you buy a used one, now again, I started out with this ancient one and it's been great because it's just a pot. It just has to, I've replaced the gauge. Yeah. And I test it to make sure that it's accurate.
So as preppers, do you think it'd be good for us to have, if we were to get a pressurized canner, that they should get a backup gauge then, do you think, as
backups?
Is that?
Well, Yeah, that would probably be good, but I think that a weight is really reliable, and it's not actually seems. I was under the assumption a gauge was better, but most of the real good safety websites, the USDA and Ball and stuff, say the weighted ones, because then it's now yours has a weight like mine that's a 15 pounds, so that's not really helping. But if you get a weight that's like a 10, that's regulated, so it holds the pressure at 10 pounds of pressure, or you can change it to make it 15 pounds of pressure if you're at a higher altitude. But if you get a used canner, look up the user's manual and read the user's manual to know how much water, because one of the things that people don't seem to understand is when because people get used to water bath canning, so they submerge the jars completely underwater. Well, you do not want to do that with a pressure canner. You want to usually they recommend just a couple inches. Mine says 3 quarts of water you put in it, so you just have enough. You have enough water to make steam and pressure. It can't do that. That's not the jar's submerged. It's not really under pressure if it's in the water completely submerged. So that's why you vent. Then they all say to vent for 10 minutes, which means you get the heat up and you have the weight off and you let that steam. It's very important. I didn't really understand why at first. I just did it because that's what they said to do. So you want the steam to go out of the vent because you're pushing out all the air. You want all the air out and it has completely filled with steam. So 10 minutes ensures that it's going to have steam in there. And then it's going to, because you're getting all those jars at 240 degrees. And you can only do that if it's steam and under pressure.
Makes sense. And then also in the description box, you want to have one of these little things to be able to pick up.
Oh, yeah.
Pick it up, pick up the jars like that.
Yep.
You don't want to use your hands for that. That'll hurt. And then you also want to have the funnel. This one's a more inexpensive one, but we put a nice funnel in the description box for this one.
Yeah. Bigger funnel is nice. I mean, they sell kits that are work perfect. But if you can get a bigger funnel, the one I sent to Cliff was bigger, so it's a little nicer.
Okay, let's just so I don't get backlogged too much in the chat room. Let's do another round of rapid fire chat room, and then let's talk about botulism. That's going to be the
yeah. Let's talk about
Oh man, there's so many. How much salt would you put in a raw packed turkey per quart jar? You said you put a little salt in all of it though.
Oh, how much salt? Oh yeah, I put half a teaspoon. And this is funny. I need to veer from this because I thought about, you don't have to put salt. You don't need salt. Is not a preservative. It's a flavor. So if you don't want salt, don't put salt. That's the other thing. You can make it how you want. And so what I do though is it's been worked for me. I like having a half a teaspoon in a pint jar and a whole teaspoon of salt in a quart jar. And you can use whatever salt. You could use fancy whoop-de-doo, purple.
Whoop-de-doo salt.
Whatever. Yeah, whoop-de-doo salt. I have whoop-de-doo salt.
Highly rated.
Yes.
This one's what's your favorite brand of canner? I would guess it's probably the All-American canner. Is that
yeah. They're so beautiful. Yeah.
That's a great great wedding gift, it seems like, for a couple of them.
Yeah. Presto's good though. Don't let that deter you. And a used one is good. Wild game meats. You were talking about that earlier. Yes.
We like that. Let's see. Is the texture that makes cooking with canned meat different?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Yes, it is different, and that's, I think, the biggest challenge that people I didn't think about is it's really soft. It's flakier, kind of like tuna fish, but not as flaky as tuna fish. Maybe chicken breast is the same texture, so it is a different texture. It can be a little. It's just a learning curve. You have to figure out what works. Like for beef stroganoff, or in soups is good. So you have to, and that's the thing I know I've mentioned before, is that you in a canner you're doing it for the longest time. So like the beans and you could do different types of meat. So I recommend do, whatever you think you would like, chicken or pork or beef, whatever ones you think you want, just try some different ones because it all processes the same time.
Okay, so you could have
together.
in your batch of 40 that you're doing with your two, like if you had 2 Prestos and you had them
Mm-hmm.
double layered and you had 40
Mm-hmm.
pint size, you could have a bunch of them with ground beef. You could have some of the stews that you have. You could have raw packed chicken and other things, and they all come out at the same time. Doesn't matter. So.
Yes, yeah, they're all processed same time, and they don't.
Like it's kind of sous vide kind of cooking where it's
yeah.
Yeah,
that's right. Oh, see, you're getting all the language to make it cool.
I watch Top Chef and some other shows.
There you go.
There's a lot of this is from Heads and Tails Living. Get extra seals and gaskets and they're hard to get nowadays. This is one from the Apex Prepper. This is, do you mix different types of canning in the same batch, meaning meat with fruits? Is there an issue with potential cross contamination?
Yeah, not cross contamination, but if you process something that doesn't take that's a fruit, it could over process or just the texture. It might make it into like mush, and you really don't need to do that with fruits. They're high enough acid that botulism can't live in that environment. So if you have a fruit and a sugary, like a syrup or something, you can use your pressure canner as a water bath canner. You can just plunge the stuff down instead of having a rack that comes out, which doesn't really work anyway. You just have your rack at your plate at the bottom that keeps it off the bottom of the canner for a little bit, and you just take your jar lifter and just put them in there. So if you're gonna do it, I would recommend not getting if you haven't already bought a canner for water bath. You can use a pressure canner for water bath canning if you want.
Yeah, I saw that someone's asking about can you can. Where did I see that in the chat room? It says something about fast food. Like, can you can fast food? Where did that go? I saw it here. Good to see Peggy and Don are still here. Let's see. You were talking about it briefly there. Maybe we should get into the topic of botulism because I know that you've done some research. That's like the main concern with most people. My mom was concerned about it. I think besides the kind of scary look and the texture, the botulism is the thing we don't want to. We don't want to
kill our family.
No, we don't. So, so let's talk about botulism then. Botulism with Denise. That's going to be your
yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, so botulism is so fascinating. It is the same thing that they inject in the people's faces to make their wrinkles go away. It's also used medically for anytime somebody needs a muscle paralyzed for whatever reason, they're having issues. Anyway, they inject them with. So it's used medically, which is I find fascinating. But botulism is a bacteria that grows way underground. It grows in a no oxygen, anaerobic environment. It does not survive it survives, but it goes into stasis, like when it comes out in the oxygen. Isn't that amazing that this little bacteria can't handle oxygen? Find that fascinating. Yeah. So it's like a potato, but we eat the bacteria. It's probably not as prevalent as yeast and mold, but we do consume botulism. Yeah, there's
there you go. That's like so like it's like Botox, but botulism then.
Yeah, what happens is if you consume it, which I guess is good to know too, this is the scary part. If you're getting botulism poisoning, it usually affects your face first. That's where they're showing with that boy that it starts paralyzing your face, and then if you don't get treatment, it can affect your lungs and your heart, and so it paralyzes muscle. That's why it's so scary, and we should be scared of it. But I can tell you how to completely be safe. So botulism.
I was going to say, please tell us. Please tell us.
Yeah. No, that's my little secret. No, the botulism bacteria grows underground. And when it comes out, if it's dug up, we dig dig or whatever, it comes up for whatever reason. It's a lot on plants. So it's funny that people are more concerned about meat, because really botulism is root vegetables is what it's on more than anything, because they grow in the ground. But you still need to be, you still need to do everything with meat also. It's not something to play around with. But so when it comes out into an environment with oxygen, it like goes into stasis. It doesn't do anything. So it's kind of like a potato. If you take a potato, dig it up, and then you can store it for a long time. But then if you put it in the right environment, with water or something, it grows a plant. And that plant is toxic. You don't want to eat the potato plant. It'll make you sick. What happens with botulism when you put it in let me get my notes here. Yeah, low acid, so no sugar or vinegar, like water bath canning, in moisture and airtight, that is what makes it grow spores that are toxic. So we're putting it in this perfect environment for it to grow if you can it in that. So the way to kill it, and what's hard is you cannot kill the bacteria unless you get up to 240 degrees. Then it kills the bacteria. And then what I thought was interesting is, okay, so one of the things lots of people say, and this is what I did when I first started canning, I took and said, okay, I also know that if I put it in water or cook it people say between 5 minutes and 20 minutes, if it kills they'll say it kills the botulism, but what it's killing is the spores, the toxic part. So if you're really anxious when you first start canning, you can be confident that if you cook something for 10 minutes, that's pretty much the standard. Everybody says 10 minutes. Then it will kill the toxin and you're safe. They used to say in the old times, like I know, especially green beans, people would say, oh, cook it. I know my older family members would even commercially can stuff. They would cook green beans for 10 minutes. And so that will kill the toxin. So you have to can appropriately. You have to not put too much, follow the instructions. And the USDA does a really good job. Their website is actually really good about explaining the process of canning easily. I also recommend going through, reading everything, and then making a checklist. Like, oh, I need to check the lid first. I need to check the seal if you're using the Presto style one with a rubber gasket. I need to, then just write notes, because they give you so much information, which is good. But I think it's also nice to have a little checklist. Like you do this, then you do this. I got to make sure and wipe the rim. And a lot of people say wipe the rim when you put the food in. You want to wipe the top of this especially with vinegar, is a cloth dipped in vinegar, because it'll wipe off any fat. If there's fat from the meat that you're stuffing in there, it will ensure a better seal. So yeah, then you just you follow the instructions. Make sure you know what you're doing. The other thing is, which I know that link to Prepper Potpourri was saying,
yeah, you get that one.
That the CDC, the United States Center for Disease Control, keeps track of every botulism case, which is good. And they say they average out that annually in the United States, we have an average for the whole United States, 27.5 people get botulism. So if you think of the
27.5 in 330 million, then
yes, yeah. Okay. So the whole population of the United States, 330 million people, averages per year. There's the list of, and it's really interesting. She goes through and says exactly how they got it, because it's not all foodborne. It's not all people. is not all from home canned foods.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's from canned meat too. So because I know that you have to be careful with tomatoes. Like we made a tomato salsa, and I didn't. And my sister-in-law was the one that, hey, don't mess around with the tomatoes because that could get you.
Yeah, tomatoes are right at the edge of being acidic enough. So a lot of times people will add a little splash of vinegar or some like they'll say the recipes will recommend, and the more recent tomatoes don't have as much acid, so they recommend putting, or you could pressure can them too. You could just pressure can them, but I've always just water bath canned tomatoes because I put lemon juice in it to up the acidity.
Cool. So awesome. So we have information that it's in the description box on this one to look into more of it, but so far hasn't been a problem, obviously for you. So cool. So there's awesome stats. Look like I'm backlogged on the chat room again. Let's do some more rapid fire.
Okay.
Okay, so, and I think we talked a little bit about this in New York Defiant. If this whole canning thing is absolutely foreign to someone, what would be the first thing to purchase? And I imagine either a water bath or a pressurized canner, right?
Yeah, I would get a pressure canner. Yeah, get a pressure canner, and then you really need the tools. All you need is the thing to grab the jars out because they're going to be hot. Yep, there you go, and a funnel. Well, I guess you don't even technically need a funnel. And then you just get a case of jars.
The jars are going to be the tough thing from what we've been finding out.
Right now, yeah. Although, yeah.
Cool. And then there's someone who was asking about the type of meals. This is from Denisha. What meals do you make with the meat you have canned? I'm struggling there. And I really like the idea of the having ground beef canned, because then you could use it with your spaghetti sauce that you stock, and you could do it for tacos or whatever. That seems like a really good one to do. What are the meals that you recommend?
Well, it's so funny. I'm like, okay, pork and barbecue sauce.
Barbecue pork
sandwiches. Yeah,
pork sandwiches. I love it.
Yeah, I did on pulled pork, or I did on the Discord server. I put a canning meat math, like any meat with taco seasoning makes taco meat. Any meat with enchilada sauce, you have enchiladas. Bam. Any meat with teriyaki sauce, you have chicken teriyaki. Chicken with Alfredo sauce and maybe a little Parmesan cheese. Bam. You've got. I mean, it takes like 10 minutes. I mean, you could make the meat sauce faster than you could do the pasta. Ground meat, I may make a chili mac where it's all in one pot. Ground meat, tomato sauce, corn, taco seasoning, pasta, cook it, and in 10 minutes you're ready. You've got chili mac. Yeah. Chicken with mixed vegetable, chicken and dumplings. There's it's in it, but it's a learning curve. It's well,
I think it's really cool that you guys are integrating into the normal meals that you have, and it helps speed up the cooking time and everything like that, which is, I think that seems like the way to go.
Yeah, I say I can make a meal faster than running to fast food.
Yeah. So, and people are still, it looks like they're commenting about the botulism thing. Botulism? I would never thought. Did you got something else on the botulism?
Well, I just wanted to, just quick say that the botulism, it's also from potatoes. People who wrap a potato up and don't they bake it, doesn't kill the botulism. Then they store it like at room temperature or kind of in a warm, not in maybe the refrigerator too. They say you can get botulism from that. Yeah, and fermented meats. Like people in Alaska, the native people there have a special foods that they make that are from fermented fish, and they put it in the ground, and the people who used to always do it would put it in like a grass, so it wasn't completely sealed. Well, the modern people have said, let's put it in plastic, which makes total sense that they want to put it in plastic to make it cleaner and put it in the ground. Well, but the problem with that is it makes it airtight, which grows the spores of the botulism. So they're learning to not do that. But those numbers of fermented fish so if you ferment fish, you have to do it properly.
Yeah. Another one for Peggy and Don. This is so we could can raw meats by cooking it. Yeah. So Denise likes the raw pack other than ground beef from what we said here. So
yeah.
Let's see. Let's do some more rapid fire. A lot of people seem to be already into it. 90 minutes for raw meat under pressure. It's easy. We love our American canner. That's from Xbox Gaming. I love Iron Eagle, by the way. Add a little vinegar to my water. Prepper Lane, 90 minutes for court. Yeah, so everyone's kind of commenting on that one. Let me.
Yeah.
Man, still trying to catch up. Let's see, what's this one say? Thanksgiving time is the best time when many of these things are advertised on sale, like giant deep fried pots. You were talking about one of your goals is to do a turducken, a canned.
Yeah,
turducken. Is that true? Is this rumor true?
It's rumor true. Yeah. I'm gonna put a layer of chicken, a layer of or a duck, and then a layer of turkey, and then maybe a little bacon on top, and then
that seems like a viral video waiting to happen. So, and I know that we've been talking for a while, for about 53 minutes. Folks in the chat room, would you like to have Denise start? I think you need to start a YouTube channel. It could be the Botulism Prepper or the canning.
The Botulism Prepper.
But it seems like
because we know how to make it. We also we know how to make it. In case
let us know in the chat room if you think that Denise should start a YouTube channel on canning. I think she should. So let's see. This is one. Does Denise have a favorite canning book?
Oh, the ball canning.
The ball. Yeah, I think.
They have two, but the standard one. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Another one from Garik, who we talked to earlier. Besides ground beef, when would you hot pack versus canning meat raw? Seems easier to cook now and just have it heat up later. But when you pressurize can it, it cooks it, right? It cooks it.
Yeah, it's cooked meat. This chicken I put in
raw. Yeah.
Chicken breast raw, chopped up raw. Now it's cooked. I could eat this. I'm fine eating it right out of the jar.
Any recommendations on good canned soups?
Oh yeah. Oh yes, right here.
How many jars do you have around you right now?
I have 2 cases. Yeah, 2 cases. So this is beef. This is fun to can, actually. See the nice big potatoes as beef stew.
Let me get a close up of that one. There we go.
Yeah. So what I did is I put beef. This is nice because you take how many quarts your canner, or liters, these are also called liters. You know how many quarts your canner can hold, like typically 7. Most canners hold 7. So you line up 7 quarts, then you put whatever you want, because the carrots and potatoes by themselves would can for a lower amount of time, but because there's meat in it, you're going to can it for the full time. So then you can add meat. You can do some with chicken, some with beef, and like I love these potatoes. You could do carrots. You could do them all different, however you think you want, and then you just either put, like these had about 1/4 cup of this beef broth that I'd made, and then I just added water and a little salt.
Yeah,
so that's the soup. Oh, also,
Wendy's recommending you start a channel. We got that. Rochelle is saying start a channel. I think Cascadian Preparedness. Good to see you, Cascadian Preparedness. The high pressure meat channel. That I like that. That's good. Let's see, what else do we have here. I like this one on the canned chicken can be used for soups, chicken salad, or anywhere you would add cooked meat to. I use canned hamburger for fast, easy shepherd pie. Besides those ideas, that was that sounds like a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have on the Discord. I have a prepper pie recipe that's all
prepper pie.
Pantry.
Oh, prepper pie. That sounds awesome.
Well, but it's shepherd's pie with just pantry items.
Yeah, there's another video for the new channel. Again, high pressure meat channel. Stay tuned for on YouTube. That's coming soon, featuring Denise on that. So we've been going for a little bit now. I want to what sounds really cool about what appeals to me, besides it's an interesting topic and it looks cool too, is that I'm tired of buying like the expensive Mountain House number 10 cans of fake meat and stuff like that. It seems like it would be really cool to have, let's say 100 cans of meat ready to go for emergency. You could have it on the shelf. And how long would like the ground beef and the chicken, all that last in a can like this?
Well, technically it would last forever. As long as it's still sealed, it's sterilized in that jar. That jar, whatever's in there has been sterilized. If you did it properly for the amount of time you're supposed to, the texture or the quality goes down. Most people seem to say after 3 years.
Okay.
they think, and that's kind of what I try to do is rotate.
18 years. This is.
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting and to see what that's like. But I would feel safe eating that.
Yeah, and then let's see. This is from Peggy and Don again. This is can you look at a jar and say that's a good one? How? You think they're all good as long as the seal's good?
They're all
good.
beautiful. They're all unique, beautiful
beautiful
recipes. Yeah, recipes waiting to happen.
This is one. What about storage?
I just stored in our closet. We have the only place, we have a small house, so the only place I can put it is, or the best place we found is in our clothes closet in our bedroom. We just put shelves up. John made some real sturdy shelves, so we have it. And then I just, when I put because I put them back in the, let me see here. I put them back in the box they came in, and then I put a label on the outside that just says what it is, like bacon, and then the year that it was, so I can see right away, oh, that's 2018. Like this chicken is 2018. My daughter, I'm not a big chicken breast fan, but now we're needing to eat this up and then I like to use an Excel spreadsheet and just put there we go, the label, because if you're doing a bunch of jars, I don't know, to me, instead of writing, I just like to print these out and tape them on really quick. That's no big deal though. That's just how I like to do it. Cool.
More questions here. There, people want me to open up the can.
That's if you guys, yeah.
I think I should say that's for some kind of a special contest here.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it looks gross. It takes some of it looks, especially if you can chicken with the skin on. It looks disgusting, but it's so good.
It can't be any worse than the emergency food ration bars that I've eaten. So, I don't know how we're doing on this video as far as the likes, but if you guys are liking this video, and if you didn't happen to watch it live, make sure that you smash that like button. And how about maybe we could do something if we reach a certain amount of likes? I'll eat this 18-year-old canned tuna. How about that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
That would be fun. I don't know what's a good number of likes for this video. We'll figure that out.
Okay.
Let's see. Rings off to don't open a can of worms. That's fun.
Yeah. The chicken though, the skin. I was saying it looks bad, but I've started canning bone-in chicken thighs, and when you open it up, it kind of fillets out naturally. You put the skin side down in a pan and brown it, and then as it's browning, you take the bone. Is easy to remove. Oh my goodness, that meat is so good. I can't even. It's so good.
Yeah. Let's see. What is this? What's the benefit of the jars where they don't have the other part to it, like the ring part?
Maybe they're talking about these. I can it with the ring on.
Yep.
And then the other thing haven't really mentioned is the glass. You're not getting anything like canned foods. You don't know what is reacting to the inside of the can, so it's really safe.
And let's see. Here's another one. Did I get the right one? Can you pressure can with an all-in-one lid? Now, I remember there was, I think we were talking about this on the Discord server where they were talking about the one little lid with the metal piece.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's related.
They're in Europe, it seems like, have those more, but I don't see why not. That's what they're made for. They're just the ring and the lid. I just don't like I wouldn't use those because I want to take the ring off so I can tell that I would imagine those would be even more difficult to know if their seal has been broken. I wouldn't use those.
Cool. Let's see what this. Dan says they're starting to eat canned chickens from 2013 just now. So that's 7-year-old chicken. This is a kind of a cool question. This is from Finance Amy Fresh. What is the most unusual food that you've canned? Now, not counting the turducken, which is in the works, but what's the
in the works. It's in the works. I don't know. I do all my hunting at the grocery store, so I haven't done anything really exotic. Oh, I did do. I got at we have a big grocery store that sells 40-pound box of chicken legs. I'm into like inexpensive. So I took the chicken legs. I thought, oh, I'll just can up chicken legs. I've seen people do it online and the recipes and stuff. But when you try to put chicken, you can only get like 3 of them in there. So I took a cleaver and just started chopping off about a third of the bottom and then I've got these little like round balls of chicken with bone in, and they tasted the meat just like the chicken thighs. That meat is so tasty and succulent and just delicious, but it's hard to cook because there's extra little bones in a chicken drumstick, and there's a lot of cartilage too, so you have to kind of pull them. They take a lot of, not a lot, but more than I want to pull them apart, where the chicken thighs, you just pull the bone out. There's maybe a little gristle, but you still get that good tasty meat. But yeah, so chicken legs with the bottom half chopped off. That was probably the oddest thing I've done.
So, okay, it seems like we're getting towards the end of the live stream. So, okay, we've talked about your background with it. We talked about all the supplies that we need. We talked about why we should can meat. We talked about botulism, and we talked about the raw pack versus hot pack. So, you've given them all this information. What's their first step now? Just go and have a canning party with their family and friends? Is that get the supplies and go do it?
Yeah, you just have to do it. You need to read the on the website of the Food and Drug Administration website that we linked to, because it's quick, it's easy. If you can borrow a pressure canner, that would be great. And then but read the instruction. Any canner that you use, read the instruction manual on how to properly operate it and make sure to vent it. But and I would I know some people are gung-ho and want to buy 2. You can buy, do whatever you want, but you just buy 1 to see how you like it. That's what we did. Is I bought my All-American I bought for $30, and then I replaced the gauge, which is only about the dial gauge.
Wait,
it was only
you bought the
$15.
All-American for $30?
$30, yeah.
Wow,
it's ancient though.
Okay, it's an old one.
It's older than me. I think.
Okay.
It's pretty old.
Because I know, because when you get now, I don't know if the price has gone up, but they seem like they're going for like $300 or something like that nowadays for
the
All-American canner.
Oh yeah. The new ones, the new, but they last forever. And even the Presto, if you get one of those used, you can replace the gasket, replace the plug. They're not very expensive online. Replace the dial if you are using the dial, or have it checked for the right pressure, that it's under the right pressure. Yeah, you can definitely use I wouldn't be afraid to. Obviously, I have a used one. Then we liked it so much, so I started out with 1. I realized, this is something I want to do. And if I'm going to all this work, I might as well do 2 batches at the same time. And we call it our prepper date night. John is really good at regulating, because you have to adjust the heat to make the temperature. He's really good at doing that. And so then we watch a movie in the kitchen, because you have to be in the kitchen.
It's a very romantic date night.
Yes. So special, but it's fun. It is fun to do. All joking aside, it's kind of a neat thing to do together.
We had fun doing because we recently did a prepper pickle project, but we weren't doing meats at the time. It was kind of fun, I thought, to do all that. It was like a fun experiment, and it was fun eating all the stuff afterwards.
The more you do too, the easier it gets. Where you put the lids, where you put the everything. Where you take the jars out. It's easier the more you do it.
Cool. So let's do a couple. Let me. This is one Cornish hen in a quart jar. That sounds awesome. This is
you
one
can fit it in there.
Do you peel potatoes before canning?
Nope.
No. Okay. Annette says it. Yeah, if the Cornish hen would fit, that sounds good. This is from Prepper Lane. When you raw pack, save the broth. It's excellent on rice.
Yes. Somebody in this house, I won't mention John's name, but he wants to throw out well, he is like, okay, I'll just drain it in the sink. And I freak, it's only like a cup full, but I just like,
The All-American are good as gold, family fun. Denisha, thank you for dropping by for this one. Pickles, sauerkraut. We really like the sauerkraut. I know it's not meat, but hear a little kitty cat in the background too. So,
Oh yeah.
this has been so cool and informative. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. This is the most unusual thing. This was a fish one over here. Let's see. Here's
fish eggs.
Here's a cool one. Any tips related to lid or screw ring rust?
Oh yeah, they do wear out after. So the nice thing about the two parts is you only have to buy the lids, the lid part every time you can. You can't reuse these, but the rings you use over and over. But eventually, yeah, mine are kind of getting a little rusty. I probably need to buy some, but I've done a lot of. They've been through a lot.
Great job. I'm excited to try. So I think you've convinced a ton of people to try meat canning. We didn't think it could be done. We thought this was going to be a controversial one.
Well, hopefully you won't get banned.
Yeah, hopefully the botulism didn't get the algorithms catch me on that one. This is really romantic. This is by Prepper Lane. My husband and I can every Saturday. It's one of dates. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's do.
It's a great time to watch a movie because you have to be in there, and you don't have to be watching it constantly, but you have to every couple minutes make sure the pressure is right.
Yeah, this one maybe a final question here from Monique. This is: Do you cook onions before pressure canning? Someone told me the onions could cause botulism. Is that true?
Well, any root is probably, I think, has botulism. Yeah, but you don't. It doesn't matter. I do. Okay, I'm an onion. I love onions, but in my beef stew, I started cooking it before just because of the flavor. Something about boiled onion has a odd, to me, flavor, and that's what happens when you start just practicing doing that. So yeah, I do cook the onions, but not for safety reasons. You could definitely put a raw onion.
Well, cool. So everyone, we've been talking about canned meat for over an hour now. It's been we could talk about it more. I know Denise has more things to say. I see a comment here. Discord. Are we going to Discord? Is there after hours party at Discord? I think maybe I could drop by for a little bit.
I'll be there.
So if you're watching this in real time and we didn't get to your question, go click on the Discord link. It's in the description box below, and you could talk with Denise more about canning, and I'll swing by there as well. So that should be a lot of fun. We have a lot of links available in the description box of this video. So we have links to the pressurized canner and all the accessories that you need. There's also some informational ones. Make sure that you check out the USDA article that was this is provided by Denise here for the complete guide to home canning. Check out Prepper Potpourri's video on the botulism, facts, not fear. Go to YouTube and check out Alaska Prepper, who's going to be coming on the live stream coming next month, I believe. And we're working on the scheduling on that. He has a lot of great videos on meat canning. As you can see, a lot of examples there too. And if you want to talk more with Denise, we're going to be hopping over to the Discord server for a little bit. There's a little stream hang that we go to afterwards, and we'll talk a little bit more. So this has been a lot of...
We have a channel on Discord for canning too. If you have questions later on, you can ask me. Yeah, or anybody.
Well, I'm super excited. I think my wife and I are definitely going to. My goal is, I'd like to have 100 cans of so 100 pounds of meat in pint-sized jars. So
yes.
Yeah, so that's my goal, I think, for the coming up. So I think we're going to have some date night prep canning party as well.
Yeah, get a bottle of wine and
get some wine and some canning. So how about I know a lot of people want me to eat this. How about if this video gets 1,000 likes? Can we get 1,000 likes on meat canning? It's never been done before. If we could do 1,000 likes on meat canning, I'll definitely eat this can in front of everyone and enjoy it. So
I'll go tell my friends.
Yeah, so make sure you smash that like. Oh, I saw Bernie's over here. He's been he's been banning people left and right. Let me get Bernie really quick. Bernie, is there anything that I missed before we hop off here? So thank you.
Well, first and foremost, I am the one who asked the silly question on the fast food. Can you can fast food like chicken McNuggets or I don't know a Whopper, something like that?
No.
Oh well.
I forbid it.
Little Miss Prepper's doing a cameo appearance for. You can say hi.
Hello.
You're live with a lot of people.
Hello.
Go okay. All right, folks. Well,
I can have ice cream.
You can have ice cream a little after the stream. Okay. Okay. Well, I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this live stream. This is a lot of fun. Hopefully the botulism thing doesn't get me flagged on YouTube. I don't think it will. I think we're cool. you guys, we should all be canning more, I think, as preppers. I'm just now starting to get into it. My wife's been canning. She probably has 500 of these jars of jam all over the place, and now we're making our prepper pickles too. But this is our next adventure, is the canned meat. We thank you so much for Denise for coming on the stream to talking with us all about it. Smash that like button, folks, and hopefully Denise starts her channel very soon. High pressure prepper canned meat channel, or whatever it is. The botulism
Prepper pie.
Prepper pie. I like the prepper shepherd's pie. If you didn't happen to watch this live, make sure if you like it, make sure you smash that like button. After 1,000 likes, I'll eat that tuna. And then if you're watching this live and you want to talk more, hop over to the Discord server for a little bit. We'll talk some more about canned meat. So everyone, thanks for the support. A lot more awesome guests coming up on the live stream. We have Canadian Prepper. We have both Canadian Prepper and City Prepping coming out at the same time. We have we're working on Alaskan Prepper. There's all sorts of preppers coming on the show. So this has been a blast. So thanks everyone again for the support, and stay tuned for more videos. Thanks again, Denise, for coming and talking with us about meat canning. All right, guys, stay safe, everyone.
All right.